Right, good afternoon. It's great to be here with you all. My name is Noah, and for the next couple of moments, I get the privilege of talking with you about something that I am incredibly passionate about, and that's the coffee industry. Now, I don't think I would be lying to say that I'm not the only individual in here who's passionate about coffee. Many of us drink coffee each and every day. In fact, every year, 500 billion cups of coffee are consumed. Coffee happens to be the #2 traded commodity worldwide behind oil each and every year. So needless to say, the industry in and of itself is massive. But what I'm here to share some information on today is the corruption that can be found underneath the surface of this massive industry. Primarily because I've worked with this corruption for the past 3 years now. Today I want to talk with you a little bit more about corruption in your coffee. So let's get started with some facts on the coffee industry as a whole, primarily related to production. Now, 90% of the coffee that's produced worldwide is produced in developing countries, third world countries, impoverished nations, nations who are underprivileged naturally. However, 85% of that consumption of the product of coffee comes from first world developed countries. Nations who have been born into privilege and who are thriving rapidly. What does this mean? This means that underprivileged individuals are working hard around the world to ensure that a product is provided that privileged individuals can consume, which means that 25 million, that's what we estimate exists, 25 million coffee farmers around the world are living in poverty. But why is this the case? If coffee is such a heavily regarded product, why are these individuals living impoverished lifestyles? I believe the answer can be found in 3 specific categories. These categories are monopolization, farmer oppression, and quality compromising. Today I want to talk to you about all 3 of those things: farmer oppression, quality compromising, and monopolization, so that together we can collectively learn a little bit more information about the coffee industry. So let's start with monopolization, which basically means the opportunity for individuals to take a product and completely regulate and control it. Today, big corporations such as Starbucks, Dutch Bros, and Dunkin' Donuts have done exactly this with coffee. They completely control the industry's consumption, which allows them to regulate the market price. These organizations have bumped out smaller coffee businesses by driving the prices low and running them out of business. This has allowed these major organizations to control the distribution of the product, and when a company controls the distribution of a product, they're able to also control the pricing of that product. Low pricing equals low shares for farmers around the world, which is one of the reasons why these farmers live in poverty. Secondly is farmer oppression. Farmers around the world are being oppressed by a group of individuals called coyotes, and this is incredibly important to understand. Coyotes serve as middlemen from the agricultural farming world to the buyer world of the coffee product. Many of these third world impoverished nation farmers do not have the resources necessary to take the product that they're growing and get it directly to the source of the buyer. So middlemen, coyotes, step in and purchase the product from the farmers at an incredibly low rate and sell it to the buyers at a much higher rate, creating a culture of poverty within these coffee farming communities. Finally, quality compromising is another reason why there is a massive amount of poverty within the coffee industry. A couple of years ago, individuals began asking the question, how can we sell coffee for less? And they came to the conclusion that we have to grow it for less. We have to reduce the cost of production. The result was creating something called a Robusta bean, which is much different than the natural Arabica beans that many coffee farmers want to grow around the world. The Robusta bean is developed at a faster rate because it uses biomedical chemicals that have been engineered to make the process much cheaper. The result is driving prices down once again with Robusta beans, creating an environment and culture that farmers must live in full of poverty. So, in conclusion, there are three specific areas where farmers are becoming, oppressed rapidly. Monopolization, companies taking over a product and controlling the price. Farmer oppression, individuals such as middlemen and coyotes stepping in and buying the price for less. And quality compromising, allowing companies, organizations, and growers to grow a bean for a much lower cost, much lower price than it should be grown for. There are a couple of ways that individuals have come up with to counter this oppression that is taking place. One of them is called fair trade, partnering alongside companies and nonprofit organizations like the one I work with to ensure that these farmers are being treated fairly. Many of these companies have partnered with the concept of fair trade, which is basically a group, a collective organizations that are striving to ensure that farmers are being treated fairly within the process of selling their product. Finally, further regulations on trade have been happening as well within the C market, and it's crucial for us as individuals to understand these things if we're striving to make a difference in the coffee industry. So the next time you drink a cup of coffee, I hope you recognize and realize all that goes into it and put more attention towards the entire industry as a whole and areas that you might have the opportunity to help in. Thank you so much for your time.